What's going on, guys? Austin Zay back here with another YouTube video, and in today's video, per the title, per the thumbnail, we're gonna be talking about how I wholesale about 30 to 35 houses a month for a total profit of somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 a month. Yeah, you heard me right, okay? We're gonna dive into it. We're gonna break down all of the tips, all of the tricks that I use personally to be able to do this and how I've scaled to where we're at today and how you can as well. So make sure you stay till the end of the video, because if you've ever had any interest in getting into wholesaling real estate, which is just simply where you're getting a property under contract directly with the seller, and then you're taking that contract and you're flipping the contract essentially to a cash buyer, AKA signing the contract for a profit, just a little bit of arbitrage. So if you haven't already, do me a quick favor and just smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, okay? It would help me out a ton. Typically on my channel, we're talking about business, about finance, and about real estate. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So I'm 25 years old right now, okay? I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is one of my primary markets that I wholesale real estate in. Now, I also flip houses, and I also am buying properties as rental properties, okay? And I've been in real estate since the day I turned 18 years old. I got into real estate because I was working a job that I absolutely hated, okay? And I wanted out of the job, and I didn't have a lot of money put aside, but I had enough money, and I had an entrepreneurial background growing up, but ultimately, I just never really saved a lot of my money. So I found the world of wholesaling real estate because I saw an ad of somebody talking about how I could get into real estate with basically no money down. So I got into real estate wholesaling, and I failed miserably, okay, like most people do. It didn't work out for me, it took me a really long time to get my first wholesale deal, and then fast forward, basically, I had a lot of trials and tribulations. There's a lot of stuff I went through, and a lot that I had to figure out. I had to learn and grow and evolve as a person, as a business person, as a partner, as a leader, as a boss, and so on and so forth, okay? And I'm still learning as a business person, okay? I'm still learning as a partner, as a leader, as a boss, as a friend. So this isn't something that you'll, necessarily ever have entirely figured out, but it is something that I've definitely gotten more and more figured out as time went along, okay? But I want to kind of talk today about, ultimately how we do what we're able to do. And that really boils down to having good people around you, okay? It is one thing if you want to wholesale real estate and you want to wholesale, maybe a deal or two, or even maybe three, maybe, okay, you could do like 4 or 5 wholesale deals a month all by yourself, okay, where you're doing marketing to the seller, okay, and you're acquiring the deal with the seller, or maybe a real estate agent or another wholesaler, and then you're turning around and you're selling that deal, you're flipping the contract to a cash buyer, and you're doing the entire process of that yourself, including the management of the transaction with the title company or the attorney, and everything that kind of goes along with that, right? There's only so much you can do by yourself. So what I figured out at a very early age is I said, okay, well, if I want to make more money in this business, right? If I want to scale and I want to make more money, and maybe eventually I want to make, 7 figures or whatever, even 8 figures, which sounded like a lot of money to me in the beginning. I made a decision, well, I'm going to have good people around me, right? I'm going to have to hire people. I'm going to have to train people, and I'm going to have to show people how to do different parts of the transaction to where then I can focus on building the actual business, right? So that's what I did, and I would say was kind of the biggest wake up call for me early on, was getting good people around me, okay? Now, once I did that, what I decided to start doing is I decided to start to really section off the business and say, okay, we've got acquisitions over here, which is kind of the art of getting the deal, right? And the process of getting the deal, right? Which is doing marketing, to the seller, to the agent, or to the other wholesaler, and getting the property under contract at a price below market value that would be of interest to a potential cash buyer. So, I really sectioned that off as a part of the business, and then I put a lot of energy into that part of the business, right? And I said, okay, well, any wholesaler, any flipper, anybody is going to have to focus on acquisitions, right? Because if you don't have a deal, then you can't sell a deal, right? So you could go have the biggest cash buyers list in the world, but if I don't know how to acquire a deal, then it doesn't matter how big my cash buyers list is, right? I mean, even if I can't get a deal from another wholesaler, then what does it matter? What good does it do ultimately? So I mastered the acquisition side of the business, okay? Now, I know other companies out there that master the disposition side of the business, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is you've at any given time got to rely on another wholesaler to bring you their deals so that you can sell their deals for them, right? Which is totally fine, right? And I know companies that do very, very, very well in doing so. But for me, I wanted to control the narrative. I wanted to control the outcome, the situation. I wanted to be the guy that at the end of the day, I had the final say because I focused on acquisition. So that's what I started to do, right? And over the years, it took me a long time, but I got really good at acquisitions. And then I eventually trained another person how to be really good at acquisitions. And then I trained 2 people how to be really good at acquisitions, and so on and so forth. And so all that really was for me in my market was really figuring out what marketing methods would be the best to find motivated sellers, to find agents that were working with motivated sellers, to find other wholesalers, and so on and so forth, right? And this is gonna be different in every market, okay? There's gonna be markets where you can do direct mail, right? And direct mail will work really good. You can do a postcard or a letter or whatever the case is, and that will produce an ROI. You'll get leads and you'll get people that wanna sell, and then it's just a matter of getting the property under contract, right? And in other markets, you might be able to drive for dollars really well, and that might work really well, right? And I've got an amazing driving for dollars software that I'll link down below, and that works very well. Probably in any market you can drive for dollars, to be fully honest with you, okay? But you understand the concept, right? There's only so many different ways that I can market to a seller. I mean, in general, right, there's only so many ways that I can market. It doesn't matter what industry I'm in, what business I'm in, there's only so many ways that I can market. So I narrowed it down in the beginning, right? I said, okay, well, I can't do everything. I mean, I can't do bandit signs and driving for dollars and door knocking and cold calling and texting and ringless voicemail and Facebook ads and Instagram ads and so on and so forth, okay? I made a decision and I said, okay, I'm gonna focus on maybe 2 or 3, right? A handful that I could really wrap my brain around and really scale accordingly, right? And for me, a lot of that was cold calling. It was door knocking, it was texting, and a couple of others, okay, now, right? But in the beginning, it was very simple, and I kept it very simple for a reason, and I got really, really, really good at those simple methods of finding sellers that wanted to sell their house at a discount and then taking that contract and flipping it to the cash buyer, okay? But again, my main focus was acquisitions because I knew that if I could acquire the deal at a discount, I could put that in front of any investor and they're gonna buy it, right? I mean, I could take a good enough deal and sell it at Applebee's. I could sell it while eating sushi, right? There comes a certain point where a good enough deal will sell. I mean, people are like,
costing, you gotta build your cash buyers list, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll do that once I get the deal, right? And all of that eventually ended up working itself out to where now we have an entire dispositions team that handles all of that and they sell all of our deals, right? And it's a mutual relationship, works extremely, extremely well, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, right? But again, our focus was acquisitions. And so I think a lot of people get into wholesaling and they got all of this stuff stuff in their head, right? Like they've got to, build their cash buyers list, and simultaneously they've got to work with sellers, and they've got to market to sellers, and they've, if bandit signs don't work one week, then the next week they're doing ringless voicemail, and if that doesn't work, the next week they're cold calling, and if that doesn't work, the next week they're running Facebook and Instagram ads, and if that doesn't work, and it's like, oh my gosh, like no wonder you're not succeeding in wholesaling real estate, right? You've got to figure out what you want to focus on, and you've got to focus on that, okay? So again, when you're looking at real estate in general, I mean, here's the thing with wholesaling, right? Is it applies if you're flipping, it applies if you want to buy rental properties below market value, it applies if you want to buy development properties that are off market, it applies pretty much everything real estate related. Like if you can master kind of the fundamental processes and systems as it applies and pertains to wholesaling real estate, then that'll carry with you to every other industry or every other, let's call it every other niche in the real estate industry, okay? Because there's no part of real estate that having the ability to acquire a deal below market value is not going to apply to. I mean, that is a unique ability that everybody that wants to get into real estate should acquire, okay? So look, if you're new to wholesaling, understand a couple of things. Understand that I'm 25 years old. I'm a normal, average guy that is just asking that you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, okay? But for real, I'm a normal, average guy with above average dreams and goals, right? And I set my mind on a vision of, building a business from scratch, and I didn't come from money, none of that, right? And I worked at it day in and day out for like 7 years now. And here I am, and I would not consider myself to be anywhere close to the end destination because it's always moving away from me, okay? What I would say is this, if you're getting into the business, understand the first thing, which is you're no different than me, okay? I guarantee it. Like any self-limiting belief that you have in your head, just throw it out the window, okay? Because you're no different than me, and I'm no different than anybody else, okay? So understand that. And the second thing is, don't try to do it all in the beginning, right? In the beginning, if you want to wholesale, make it a goal to consistently wholesale 1, 2, or 3 deals a month. Pick a couple of marketing methods that you can really wrap your brain around to the point where you fully understand exactly all of the numbers, everything associated with that particular marketing method. And then go full force, double down with that particular thing to the point where you know every single thing about cold calling. You know every single thing about door knocking or driving for dollars or Facebook ads or Instagram ads or whatever the case is, okay? You wanna make sure that you fully understand it. And eventually, when you fully understand that particular thing, then you can evolve into, other parts of the business. Then you can get into another market. Then you can virtually wholesale anywhere in the country. Then you can travel the world. Then you can sit in Bali, Indonesia, and you can ride a motor scooter around and you can wholesale real estate if you want, okay? And then that can eventually evolve to where you're flipping or you're developing or you're buying Airbnb properties or whatever the case is. But I promise you, if you just stick with it and if you just do those couple of things, you can succeed beyond your wildest imagination. And who knows, maybe you don't even want to do as many deals as we're doing. Maybe you don't want to wholesale at the level that we're wholesaling, okay? But if you do, it is 100% possible. And even if you want to do a couple of deals a month, I would recommend that you follow the strategies that I just talked about, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got value from the video. It would mean the world to me if you would take just a quick second, okay, before you click off the video and do a couple of things, such as smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you want to check out any of the links that I have in the description down below, definitely check those out. It would mean the world to me. I really appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.